This week we're in Warsaw, Kentucky, right along the Ohio River, and we're here to meet the Kentuckian team. Team Sullivan here. We've got Wayne Sullivan we're going to talk to here this afternoon. So let's go inside and meet the legend himself. Well, Wayne, thanks for spending a few minutes with us here this afternoon and talking about, your long and illustrious pulling career. But let's go back to the beginning. How did it all get started for you? Where were you actually raised?
Oh, I was raised right here in this county. Gallatin County, Warsaw, Kentucky. I was raised on a farm. I've been around tractor pulling since I've been 5 or 6 years old.
So as an early age, you just farm tractors and stuff, and then it was just kind of evolved, motorsport wise, drag racing was like the next step that you took.
Yeah. Drag racing, we drag raced for about 4 or 5 years in the 60s. And then I seen a tractor here in the county. The guy it was a Massey Harris, and he put a V8 in it, and to pull wagons and stuff around. And then about that time, they was starting to pull the sleds where people stepped on them. And then the sled developed to where they could transfer the weight. So I said, that seemed like a lot of fun. And I had quit drag racing at that time. But I built my first tractor like in 1969. It was a small block Chevy in a Massey Harris. And I blew it, that little small block, I blew it up first night we pulled. And then I put a 427 in it. And then went from 427 to, had one carburetor, I put 2 carburetors, and then I put fuel injection. And then I went to a pull out in, it was in Scottsburg, Indiana. And that's the first time I met some great pullers. It was Don Harness was there with a supercharged tractor. For only one there, and Tim Engler was there with his dad, and he had an old Hemi with, I think he had fuel injection on it or 2 carburetors, and I was there with mine with 2 carburetors.
So at that point, did you start like following more of the NTPA circuit? Back then it was every NTPA event counted for points, so It was one of those deals where you could possibly go to 50, 60 events throughout the year. So did you just kind of pick and choose where you went?
Well, yeah, back then it was the tractor pull was growing and starting, and they've been a sanctioned body forever. And if you want to go to a big pull, you most generally had to be one of our pulls. But a couple years later, that's when everybody started getting in a kick, I say it, because that's when TNT started, the guys that started the Louisville pull, they started the TNT circuit. And I went with them a great deal because I went with the first TNT pull they had down in Georgia, and they had nobody there. And the second pull they had was in Cincinnati, and it was about a sellout crowd, and that's where it all started. Back then, tractor pulling was really growing. I think I've made a remark, I think I pulled about every county fair in the state of Kentucky and southern Indiana. I've been lucky. We're right in the heartland of pulling.
The family was involved in pulling. Your brother, your dad. Yeah. How did that all get? So you went the tractor route, and they kind of went, trucks. And how did that all come together?
I started pulling the tractor because it just caught my eye, and I loved it. And then my dad and my brother had an old 4-wheel drive Ford they pulled forever, and because they ran the pull, and then the 2-wheel drives started right here in this county and across the river and on a bet. I had a mechanic who worked here, and I told him he was going to a pull up here in Lawrenceburg, and I told him, I said, let's make a wrecker boom. So we made a wrecker boom. I said, back up to the sled, put the chain up as high as you can and hook it. And that's what he did. And he went up there and he let on the clutch and it kept rearing up. And I thought he was going to fall over backwards. And he clutched it and he took off down the track and went out the end. So that's when my dad said, we got to make some rules.